Hi guys, welcome to another audio video, and I read Isaiah 11 of the King James Version Bible, and it reads, "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of God, of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Amath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for his nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt." Okay guys, my apologies. Alright, so we see here where in this chapter the Lord is speaking basically of the redemption of the children of Israel. And we see where he mentions Jesse. And if we recall, the house of Jesse is a royal lineage. And this is the lineage that Jesus would come through also. This was a lineage of David. And we see that, we see that this tribe, right, this house, the house of Jesse, would actually be righteous. And this is also speaking of Jesus, because we know that Jesus will come and he'll be clothed in righteousness, and he's the one that will actually reprove, he's the one that will exalt, he's the one that would actually sanctify us as a people. And when this time comes, there will be peace among the children of Israel. There will no longer be strife among them, and Ephraim will not hate Judah, likewise Judah will not hate Ephraim. And we see also where it's speaking directly of the lineage of the house of Jesse, right? Whereas it hasn't arrived at Jesus as yet, but it's at a place where, because Jesse is basically a house that is basically holy, we see where that's what will be, that's the place that they will come from, that the Lord will help to bring them back to a place. And we see that there's a comparison between this this basically not redemption, but this freeing of his people will take place as it happened with the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. There's some comparisons here, and we see that they should walk across on dry waters. And when I think of this comparison, I do not think of a literal comparison, but I think of the fact that the Lord had originally spoken to Abraham, and he had made a promise to Abraham, and he renewed that promise with Jacob, Abraham's great-grandson, you call him, because Abraham's son, which would be Isaac, right? Yes, so is grandson, right? And so we see here where basically the promise that was given unto Abraham, it was fulfilled. And even though that was fulfilled, the chosen people of God still went and sullied themselves, and they gave over to the ways of a people of the land, and they become utterly consumed by unrighteousness. And the Lord would allow the purification to take place for them to be cleansed, and for them to begin anew, to basically start, reach that point where the Lord had intended for them to be, where they would be righteous. And when I see that comparison made between the freeing of the children of Israel from Egypt and the freeing of the children of Israel right here, then that comes to mind where the will of God will actually be executed, because though the Lord had made a promise to Abraham, he had made a promise to Abraham for a reason. He had his purpose that he wanted to be fulfilled in making this promise to Abraham, right? Likewise, Abraham would actually be gaining from what the Lord had planned for the children of Israel, right? And so we see here where they would actually become the head yet again, and they will become the head because of righteousness, the evil doers the tail, and they'll be exalted, and it will be as the Lord has originally intended it to be, where his children would be the head. And we see this time and time again within our daily lives. We say this in prayer all the time as Christians. We're the head and not the tail. We're above and not beneath. But we realize that the Lord had allowed his people to be in a form of oppression because they needed to be purified. There needed to be a purification. And when that purification took place, then they were restored to that place where they were indeed the head, and they were no longer oppressed. They were freed from their oppression. And so we see here where we can take away from this that we need to ensure that we serve the Lord and that we do not succumb to unrighteousness and be consumed by it, that the Lord will have to turn his anger onto us and take away that, basically, that not mandate, but that position of power that he's given us. He's given the position of power where he has made us a head and not the tail. We are royalty. We're a royal lineage, right? And so we should act accordingly. And how we act accordingly? Aspiring to righteousness each and every day, trying to ensure that we fulfill that perfect will of God through slaying self each and every day. Right, so guys, I'm gonna leave that right there. Please remember to continue to walk in your salvation, and if you've not gained it, then seek it. There's no better time to begin than the present. Have yourselves a blessed day. Bye.